this is to end in fire, then we shall all burn together. Watch the flames climb high into the night, calling out, Father, oh, stand by and we will watch the flames burn over on the mountainside.
Late in the wake of one of the bloodiest wars in all of human history, another terrible chapter of violence and horror was about to unfold. In 1953, down in the southeastern region of Asia, Cambodia has finally gained independence from nearly 100 years of French rule. Under this new regime, Prince Norodom Sihanouk preserved Cambodia's neutrality in light of the neighboring Vietnamese civil war between the Communist North and the United States-backed Democratic South. However, in 1970, Prince Sihanouk was ousted by a military coup and replaced by a right-wing, United States-backed man named Marshal Lon Nol, who only seemed to aid the United States by allowing American forces to enter South Vietnam through Cambodia. After being removed from power, the former Prince Sihanouk joined forces with a guerrilla group founded in the 1960s by an admirer of Maoist-style communism, the Khmer Rouge. Their leader, Pol Pot, was educated in France of the French Communist Party and wanted to spread communism all over Cambodia as a new government. The Khmer Rouge gained followers easily through the constant bombardment of Cambodian villages in search of North Vietnamese soldiers by the United States, as well as Lon Nol's heavy involvement with the American government. Thousands were killed in such a short time, but the worst was yet to come. In 1975, in the beginning of the CPK's rule over Cambodia, the goal was to create a classless rural society. All forms of distinction were abolished and erased from recent memory. Money, free markets, schooling, private property, foreign clothing, and all religious practices were abolished. School buildings, churches, and government buildings were repurposed as prisons and stables. All citizens were deprived of natural rights even as far as a private discussion. Friendships and family relationships were criticized and punished swiftly with immediate execution. Every single person was forced to work in the rice fields as much as an 18-hour day beginning at 6 in the morning. Workers were fed 180 grams of rice once every 2 days with only one break per day. As a result of the strict labor regulations, the elderly and the young were a large proportion of the casualties of the horrors that took place over the time of 3 years of Pol Pot's reign over Cambodia. The death toll today has been counted between 1.5 to 3.5 million innocent people perished in this genocide. Other than the citizens living in Cambodia during this hell, no other country in the world knew of the atrocities going on. The United States, however, was the closest to discover when their troops were evacuated and thrown out of the country during the Vietnam War. Years later, in 1979, the Khmer Rouge fell to the Vietnamese Communist Party. The Cambodian survivors were lost, weak, and without proper leadership. Many survivors living today are diagnosed with PTSD and other trauma-related disorders as an effect of this eradication. In 1997, the United Nations wanted to conduct tribunals for the Khmer Rouge leaders. However, trials did not start until 2007 and lasted long through 2010. Pol Pot himself was arrested by the Khmer Rouge and tried in a mock trial in 1997, and he was found guilty. Unfortunately, due to his death in 1998, he could not be brought to justice.
And I hope that you remember me. And if the